Okay, so for anybody who's been paying attention, ASUS is bringing it with the ROG Ally to directly compete with the Steam Deck. And well, I have some thoughts on this because, in one sense, it is super exciting, but in another sense, I don't think this is going to be the handheld, at least for me, for a number of reasons. So, just looking at the specs and everything that this machine has to offer, there's really no doubt about it. This is the most powerful handheld right now. And since it is running full Windows, it could basically play anything that you actually can play on a regular Windows machine as well. So you're not limited to any store or any software that you would be limited to if you were using something like the Steam Deck. And also, in terms of pricing, there's two different models. The extreme version is $699, and then there's going to be one that is the base model, which is at $599. But I would say most people are probably going to get this one, and it's going to be worth it versus getting one that is basically not going to be anywhere near as good as this one, especially if performance is the most important thing to you. And then whenever you compare this to the Steam Deck, pricing wise, it's only $50 more than the most expensive model that Steam Deck currently offers. And at the same time, it is significantly more powerful as well. So, in general, when it comes to just pure power, performance, the ROG is going to be the better option, hands down. And so, with all of those things, it might seem like it is a slam dunk for ASUS to buy their handheld versus getting a Steam Deck. But there are really important reasons why Steam Deck, I feel, is still the better option in the long term. And also some personal reasons why I don't feel like I'm going to get anything similar to the ROG. So let's go ahead and start off with the overall ecosystem that Valve has created with Steam Deck. Obviously, this machine has been around longer, and so their entire ecosystem is more mature, it's more streamlined, their community is stronger because they've had more time to build it, and most importantly, Valve has done an amazing job in creating this overall ecosystem with the software, the community, and just working to make this the best handheld it could be. And another thing is, I really feel that the overall user interface, usability, it just seems a lot easier and more intuitive than the current version that we have on the ASUS ROG. And the ASUS really suffers from most Windows handhelds normally has, and that's the overall user interface, because at the end of the day, you are running Windows 11. And even though ASUS does provide a software layer on top of it with their Armor Crate software, it's still not at the level of the Steam Deck. And those things are probably going to be the thing that's most apparent to most people. And then the second thing, and this is really important for me, is the actual software that Valve has put on this. Even though having full Windows will give you the most options when it comes to gaming, at least at this point, the one huge drawback that I have with any of these types of devices is the simple fact that, well, it's running Windows. And for people who've only used Windows or Apple Mac OS, that might not see a problem with that. But me, being somebody who doesn't use Windows as their main operating system, I actually use something called Linux, in this case Linux Mint, and I also do use Windows as well. And I really am not a fan of Windows. I haven't been for many years. I've been using Linux for more than 10 years now. And there's really two reasons why I don't like Windows. The first thing is privacy. If you ever go into your privacy and security sections, there's so many things that by default Microsoft has turned on. And even if you manage to turn all of these things off, there's so many other things that Microsoft is doing underneath everything that is constantly monitoring and tracking your usage and really being a privacy nightmare if you think about it. And at the same time, with the updates that Microsoft provides, more often than not, they're changing some of these security features, which leads to your data privacy. Because as much as we might think that we own the software that's on our computers, at the end of the day, this is actually owned by Microsoft. And so you get a license to use their operating system. And with that, they pretty much have full control to do what they want with their operating system. Even if you do decide to change things, at the end of the day, it is up to Microsoft to push updates and software or changes that they want. Whereas if you're using something like Linux, or in this case with SteamOS, which is a Linux-based operating system, you have control of your operating system and you're not really limited by what Microsoft or any other vendor tells you to do. And even though Valve definitely exerts a lot of control in this case because SteamOS is something that they build up upon, at the end of the day, underneath, you are still running Linux, and that gives you a lot more options when it comes to how you want to control your overall experience. So those are my thoughts on the ASUS ROG Ally versus the Steam Deck. In general, if you want the best gaming experience right now, then obviously the ASUS is going to provide it. However, Steam Deck, they have just an amazing ecosystem. They have an operating system that doesn't really control you like they would with the Windows machine. And at the same time, you know there's going to be another version of the Steam Deck, an upgraded version. And I would say it's probably going to be more powerful than the ROG. And at the same time, Valve and the entire community is constantly adding more improvements to the Steam Deck. So if you actually had any thoughts in this, whether you are going to be picking up the ASUS ROG, you have a Steam Deck, or maybe you might get both, be sure to leave it in the comments area below. And if you did want to see more of my gaming videos, check out my playlist in the description as well. So as always, if you did get value out of these videos, be sure to share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you on another episode. For serious YouTubers, check out TubeBuddy, the premier tool news at geekoutdoors.com. Get more done today by checking out the affiliate link in the description area below.